Let's move on to other areas for us. So, affordability. Now, I'm not going to talk about sustainability today because it's not necessarily the right conference for that. But when asked, and people say to me, what are the two most important things in the property industry today? I say affordability and sustainability. Sustainability is more impacting on the construction sector and how we build, but affordability affects everybody. It affects the liquidity of the property market. It affects our children. It affects our children's children. It affects the way we buy. For me, I think globally, businesses like this will start to have more and more of a significant impact. And I think these two companies here, who are probably some of the newest companies that I'm talking about for Spain, are two firms that you should definitely keep an eye on. Wayhome, which is this one, is a UK-based business. And it's recognized that people at the minute are comfortable with renting, and they don't have significant funds to raise money to put as a deposit down on a property. So these businesses don't ask for a 10, a 20, a 30% deposit. They ask for a 5% deposit. So as long as you can find a 5% deposit, you can essentially buy a house. You're then paying mortgage payments, and I'm using inverted commas, mortgage payments, because you're actually paying rent. And that rent is going to top up that deposit from 5% to 10%, and you have the continual option to keep adding more money in to convert as equity in that property. Now, these aren't banks. These aren't banks giving mortgages. In fact, this funding in here, which Wayhome received, is from venture capitalists who understand the power of pension funds, because pension funds don't have a lot of access into the residential market. They do tend to stick in the commercial market. So a lot of the money that is used to lend to people who want to buy properties is being funded by pension funds. Lebin and Videoquo, both Spain-based. Lebin has had a very limited amount of funding. Given the demands, given the political situation around millennials getting access to the property market, I think these guys could do relatively well. Let's look at the rental side again. One of the other challenges that millennials have within the property market, and I think this is the same for Spain, I'm sorry if it is not, but when you're paying rent, traditional rent on a property, that rent does not get counted to your credit score. So banks, when they're looking at you to say, yes, you can have a mortgage, do not consider rents as part of your credit scoring capabilities to qualify for a mortgage. So Flatfare, Canopy, Credit Ladder, these are all significant businesses who are saying, for the first time, let's think about a millennial who they leave home, let's say at 18, and they don't buy their first home till they're 35, let's say. All right, that's 17 years of credit history where they're paying rent every single month without fail, and that is not being counted by a bank as creditworthy. So in particular, Canopy and Credit Ladder have now got links in with banks, which are now counting rent as part of credit, which is then enabling the likes of BBVA, Santander, to give those people preferential rates on their mortgages. Very important. And equally, just to be on another side, Flatfare, when you're looking at deposits, deposits for rental properties are very expensive. So companies like Flatfare offer deposit alternatives. They call themselves deposit-free renting, where rather than the tenant paying 6 weeks of rent or 1 month of rent, they pay an insurance vehicle. So it's an insurance policy, not a rental deposit, which covers the landlord, but it's a lot cheaper for the renter, which means there's a lot more movement within the property market and the rental market.